John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. Now, every single week of the past few weeks on Raw, WWE Raw on Netflix, if we want to give it its full name, Cody Rhodes and John Cena have been doing basically promo battles. And the first couple of weeks, I don't know about you, I think you really liked them. I was a bit more dubious. But this week, I think, was a big improvement. What did you make of it?
I liked it. And the reason I liked it is because you you're not you're shooting at me because I'm a member of the crowd too. When they're doing a promo, I don't know what they're going to say, but they said some things that the people knew exactly what they were talking about. Like Cody at one point, told Cena, "You were the product of one man," and everybody knows this. He's talking about Vince, and they did a little history. They said we used to ride together, and because John, I know you cared a little bit for me back then, and and he said I cared, and what he was saying really is you were the chauffeur. You drove me around. So he was nothing more than a hired hand. That's what he was relating to. But he said a lot of things in there about going to another company. Before, when Vince was there, he would almost fire you if you mentioned AEW. But of course, when I was there, it was like he was talking about WCW. If you even mention WCW, you're fired. Don't tell them there's another company out there to watch. It was his mantra. You like that word, mantra? And he'd just raise hell, and he might fire you. I don't know if he'd fire you, but he would probably fine you for doing that. But in this interview here, I think they accomplished a lot, and it was an interesting promo. And it ended up, I didn't like the way it ended up, but
Why not?
well, he left him laying, and I don't think he should have left him laying. I mean, I don't. Well, the people that are listening to this, they probably watch Raw anyway. I've never been a big fan about just leaving somebody laying. At least let Cena get off and stagger off or something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we're trying to uh, transfer that the business is legit, and sometimes you can see some things and said, I think he really hit him. But I think if he just hits him like that, I think Cena should still be able to move. It didn't incapacitate him into such a way to where he just rendered just immobile and just laying there. I've never been a fan of that, just leaving a guy laying, especially a guy Cena's stature.
Are you with the
My,
opinion?
my opinion.
I was going to say, are you with the opinion that they should have got physical this week? Because I think they've got 2 more weeks till WrestleMania. When's the optimum time to finally have them touch, I guess?
Well, I'm sure they have something to feel. Now it's just going to be talk time. There's no need to do it anymore because they did it here. Unless, and if they do a physical angle, I think it'll be Cena doing something to Cody and beating the living crap out of him or something because they can't have Cody. Well, they could. I mean, they can do anything they want to do. I'm just guessing. But I think they're just as good not doing anything and just talking. Okay, is WrestleMania sold out?
I don't think it's sold out because it's a 2-night affair now. But I don't know. I don't know how many tickets they've sold at this point.
Mm-hmm. Well, I heard it wasn't sold out.
No, I don't think it is.
Okay. But what was the WrestleMania that was sold out 2 weeks before we got there? 3 weeks.
Oh God, I don't know. I mean, like before the 2-night era, I'm sure quite a lot of them were. The problem is with stadium shows is quite often I don't think they do sell them out.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Going back with Cody and Cena, I got the impression because Cody sort of outwitted John, lands the crossroads, and then leaves. because he got the first strike in, it made me think that Cody was going to lose. Is that just me being over analytical there? But I always assume that the person who gets the upper hand going into WrestleMania is the one who's going to lose.
Well, let's break it down. Cena's won how many? 16.
How many what? Oh, titles, yeah.
And Flair won 17.
No, well, on paper, Flair, well, WWE canon is that Ric Flair won 16 as well.
That's what's recognized.
16 for both.
And I think, hey, there is a good possibility they could slip it over to Cena. And since The Rock is the head, he's the, what he is, the chief boss, the prime boss, what is he?
Oh, he's the final boss.
The final boss. What would keep him from just presenting the belt to The Rock?
Cena.
And when they say that's illegal, he overrules them. No, all big decisions go through me. And I say it's what he does is he takes it and makes it a dictatorship. And when you're dealing with Rock, there's not a lot of misses, I don't think, at this point. But still, this was a show without The Rock, yes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they just mentioned him, but at least they mentioned him a lot more.
Yeah, this is the first week. In the 3 weeks they've been doing these promo battles, this is the first time one of them has mentioned The Rock. So I was genuinely getting to the point where, like, The Rock just wasn't going to be there at all. Thinking, because he just seemed to be ignoring, like, the biggest part of the puzzle. Yeah,
well, I'm pretty sure he's going to be there, and I think he's going to play a major part in it. Where is The Rock right now? He's making that movie? What movie is he making?
Oh, I don't know. I know he's signed up for another one, but I suspect he wouldn't be making it until after WrestleMania if he's going to be away for 6 months or something.
Well,
who knows?
He's away now. So?
He's not in Europe.
Well, how do you know?
Well, he's not on the shows in Europe, specifically.
No, you're talking about the WWE shows.
Yes. Hey, let's get to some of the things that they said. The first couple of weeks, as you picked up before, and you really liked it for this reason, is that John Cena was constantly talking about the fans. How the fans are the ones who've made John Cena do the things that he is now doing. What I like more about this one is that they weren't referencing the fans anywhere near as much. They were actually getting personal with each other. Yep. And I enjoyed that more.
Yes.
So, I mean, Cody... What else did Cody say about John?
Cody says that John Cena was the embodiment or the imagination of one man who's no longer here anymore. Didn't mention his name, but we know who he's talking about. Who put it all on John Cena?
Future owner of TNA.
And the fans knew exactly who he was talking about. Because they didn't cheer or boo, they went, ooh. It's almost like, wait a minute, that is, when you get a reaction like that from the fans, you've hit a nerve. And they wonder where it's going. And I'm going to tell you what, every time Cody said something, I think he rebutted it and came back stronger. It was a very, very good interview, interesting interview. They had the crowd. Hell, they had me. So I'm wondering, hey, this is verbally, I'd give it out of a score of 100, I'd give it 100. The verbal part of it. And the execution of it, I'd give it, that's probably one of the best interviews I've seen in a long time, because they took their time. They're both good talkers, and I enjoyed it. I really did.
Cody says, John, you're still my hero, but you're a piece of shit. And then Cena says, Rhodes' mind is full of feces and not facts. He sold out not because no one is because no one is worthy of following him. But there's something that it actually pass me by the first time I watched it, but apparently not for most of the people at the crowd, but maybe it passed you by as well, that John says, after all these years, that he still finds ways to make things great, including Cody Rhodes. And then Cena also says, I make empires for billionaires.
Yes.
All you've ever done is steal money from their kids. So,
right.
which he is referring to?
I'd say he's referring to AEW.
And Tony Khan, yeah.
And Tony Khan.
They're mentioning AEW a lot at the moment.
No, yeah, but they didn't mention the name. They just said another company. Mm-hmm. Now, years ago, and I just said this, that, if you mentioned another company, you were gone. You were out of there. But they mentioned it. And because they know it's true, I mean, they just don't watch WWE exclusively. They've all watched AEW, and whether they liked it or not, it doesn't matter. But at least they existed. So, and I'll tell Tony to his face, they did Tony a favor by even mentioning AEW the way they did. See, they mentioned it in such a way that made AEW legitimate.
Yeah, I was going to say legitimizes them, because they're not saying... Because what they used to say, like for ECW, for example, was a pissant, whatever it is, in an old bingo hall. They reduced it. WCW, they would talk about, down south with the wrestling and, that kind of thing. And they'd mock it for being a southern promotion, above its station, I guess. But with AEW, at least the way they mention it here, they don't mention the company name, but they talk about how, you had to disappear for a while and then you came back. And they don't denigrate AEW as much as they could do, actually.
It's not, I never liked that philosophy anyway. To talk bad about another company. Why? You're giving them, that just makes the people who own it pissed off, or some of the guys who work for it, I guess. But if you're gonna be the top of the heap and be the king, make your competition at least within striking distance, but we're still the king. Make them strong. See, like when I first broke into wrestling, one of the first things they told me was, listen, I want you to go out there and be a little bit of aggressive, because I want to, at least when I beat me, because that's all I was doing, I beat somebody. I beat somebody who was competitive. If I just go out there and beat you up, they just feel sorry for you. I can beat you up and I'm the bad guy because but if you do some things to me and now everything's right with the world, but you look competitive and I won. And it made sense to me.
So there's 2 weeks left until WrestleMania thereabouts, or 2 Raws until WrestleMania. Let's say you've got 2 segments to do whatever you want with Cody Rhodes and The Rock before the big show. How would you book it? Would you have Cena get his revenge, or would you have them not touch again? Would you not even have them be in the same ring until WrestleMania? What would you do?
Well, I don't think they need to do anything. I think they just need to if the interest is there, the interest is there now. Not in the next 2 weeks. I'd have them actually Cody training and Cena training. And just and cut the interviews from a distance. And because I don't think there's anything you can do in the last 2 weeks that'll make another person buy the ticket. It's already set in stone. It's Cena versus Cody Rhodes. And you build up that, Cena wants that 17th title run. He wants that. And Cody, did he get lucky to get here where he got? And so, but you can still put that they could be an upset brewing, and Cody might not be able to carry through with it. Cena you could put doubt in the fans' mind because you're doubting it right now. You don't know, and this is the way wrestling should be. I could see Cena winning and giving it to The Rock. I can see that plain as day. Or I can see Cody winning. And because if Cody wins, then he's got to go to he's got to go to a series with who's his next opponent, you think?
Well, it probably would be The Rock, I guess, would make the most sense, but The Rock isn't available.
That's what I'm saying. He's not available.
It would be probably whoever wins the Punk and Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns match, then maybe.
And I can see Roman Reigns. Or, I tell you, I don't see Seth Rollins in that picture. I think they've kind of devalued Seth a little bit. I think that gimmick has kind of devalued him a little bit too, because it's a feel good gimmick basically. People don't hate Seth when he comes dressed up and dancing to his music and all. CM Punk would be a good one, or did I just say him?
No, you said Roman.
Roman, CM Punk, and Randy Orton. He's a good. So he has opponents now. So we could go back. I don't know. I think they got a lot of doors they can go through. But I would go ahead. I think if it's me, I would actually put it on Cena. I would. And now Cody, he goes in a period of mourning, which would fit him. He's let everybody down, but then he's let his father down, and he's even thought about that was the high spot of his career, that to win the title. Now he's won it, and he's made really, really, really good investments over the years. So he may even think about just walking away from wrestling, and then something brings him back. So he's gotta be, to me, if he loses, he can't be mad. He can just say, I appreciate the fans staying with me, and I disappointed you. And I mean, there is a story there, or they could make it a story. But whether that'll happen or not, I don't know. But sometimes, WrestleMania, they want to go and make the fans happy. But we'll see. Hey, I'm a fan like everybody else. I don't know what they're going to do. You don't either. We're just talking. But I think there is a lot to be said for actually Cena winning. Because if Cena wins, who else wins? The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
The Rock wins, and he's the chief boss, or the chief of the, what's he call himself?
Final boss.
Oh, the final boss. And they could do. See, I did that with Savio in Puerto Rico. I had a heel champion, but Savio was always the manager, and he never would put the title up, saying, "No, we got to have rules here. We're not going to run it like we used to run it, just ragtag." Said we're all going to put it up one time every 4 to 6 weeks or whatever. So, and the belt was never on the line. The champion would go out there and get beat, and people said, boy, if he ever puts it up. And then when he puts it up, now Savio gets involved, and, we get a DQ, or we get this, we get that. And finally, when I worked the angle with Savio, I forgot who I worked it with now, but went to the stadium, immediate sellout. Because they just wanted to see him just get his ass handed to him. And of course, he'd get his ass handed to him, but of course, then he might even get pinned, but they'd leave that babyface laying. So, I mean, you got to give him a pop, and then you got to work the angle. To me, that's the way I was raised. Of course, Puerto Rico was 20 years ago. So, and things may have changed, but if I was booking WWE right now, I would find out whether the fans were so smart that they wouldn't buy any of this stuff, and I'd find out quick, and then I'd have to recalibrate it and see what works. See, every territory, this is a booker's dilemma. Every territory was different, because a lot of territories you'd go to, you don't know the past. You don't know what's happened, what they've been educated on, what they've been schooled on, or how they react in certain situations. So you would have to go in there and you'd have to either talk to somebody or go to every show yourself and listen to the fans and what they pop to. And then you'd have to finally get close to the mood they were used to and then upset them. That takes a lot of work, and sometimes you could do it, sometimes you couldn't. But it takes, this was also a booker's dilemma back in the day. You need time. I went to Florida one time, and I've told this story before. Dusty was there. But the reason I was going to Florida was because Dusty left, and they were looking for a booker. So Eddie Graham, Mike Graham's father, and he called Jerry Jarrett, and he was looking for a booker. Said, "Do you have a guy there?" And he said, "Well, yeah, I do." And he said, he mentioned my name. So I went down there, and I was where they were used to doing decent business with Dusty. You know, I mean, not sellouts every night, but houses that were fairly full. Dusty left and took everybody that was anybody there, and he left basically a second string team. So you go back in these same towns that were major towns like Miami and Tampa and Jacksonville and Orlando and all those towns, but you're going in there with a B lineup. And people said, we don't want to see them because they weren't the stars. And it took me a month to 6 weeks to even get interest back. And then when I got interest, and then when I brought in, I think, Flair the first time, I think that was like 3 to 4 months before I even moved the needle. But then once I started moving the needle and the stories set in, then it kind of took off. And you can say, well, what'd you do in that summer? Well, I wasn't there that summer because as everybody knows that knows anything about Florida, Eddie Graham had a lot of personal issues and he committed suicide. And after he did that, I lost all interest in staying in Florida because I liked Eddie and that affected me. And so I just gave my notice and I left.